Do you really think that millionaire Russell Wilson, NFL player Russell Wilson, has no control, no say over what his wife Ciara, singer Ciara, does and says? Do you really think that high value man Russell Wilson is allowing his wife to walk all over him, to wear what she wants, to do what she wants? And do you think he has no say? Is he the simp that everyone's saying he is? The worst kind of pandering is the pandering that we don't even realize is happening. And it is happening right in front of us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening right under our noses. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to use a clip from rapper Trina, who said something very fascinating. And she was being interviewed by Young Miami. This was maybe about a month ago or so. And the interview was, I didn't finish the interview, but I did listen to about half of it. And I gravitated to the part where she talked about the way in which, as a rapper, as a female rapper, she is often, I guess, influenced or told by male producers, one being Trick Daddy, what she should say in her music.
I was really trying to get like more of a different vibe, a little more melodic, just more talking slick, and that record just put me right back to where it started at. But it worked.
Did you ever feel like, nah, I ain't gonna say that, it's too out?
Yes. Plenty of times I said it. So what would happen is when I would do the records, right? And this is what I thought I wanted to say. Cause see, truth be told, when I do records, I'll think of what I would want to say. And then if I'm in the studio, they'll be like, but that's not what the people want to say. They want to say the nasty verse. You got to be nastier. And I was like, damn. And it's coming from me, so y'all looking at me like I'm nasty. No, y'all are nasty. That's how I'll be looking at it, because it's like, it's not nasty enough.
Right.
Well, how nasty you want to be? And I remember I did this record, and I had let Trick hear it, and I was like, Trick, his mouth, he just nasty. So I was like, well, let me just let Ross hear it. Ross is a little bit different than me, so I let Ross hear it. And then Ross heard it, but Ross kind of had the same reaction as Trick, but a little less aggressive.
Right.
He was like, you could go a little nastier, but it's good. And then I didn't feel comfortable with it. I need him to say, this is it. But when he said go a little nastier, it was just like, so it just kind of made me feel like they gonna always want that. So I gotta challenge myself and challenge them outside of that. And it was times when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go nasty. You want me to say this? And then that's just filthy.
Right.
But they was like, yeah, that's what you want to hear. Them girls gonna love that. And I would be like,
I ain't gonna lie, we love it. I was thinking about her. I love it.
So she will come up with what she wants to say, and she'll play the track for the approval of these black male producers. And they will tell her, no, Trina, you need to go nastier. And she'll switch it up, and okay, let me make it more nasty, make it more, give people a little bit more. And they'll listen to it, and they'll be like, that was better, but yeah, you need to go a little harder, say more, you need to wow people. You need to sort of put on this persona. And Trina will follow suit because, of course, she wants to be successful. She wants her songs to be successful. And so she then, and has put out music on the internet, put out music, on mainstream radio and so forth, many of the songs that we know and love. And lo and behold, this music, these lyrics that we thought came from Trina is actually coming from a man, from a black man, from a perverted and dirty-minded black man. This is not Trina. Trina would actually have said something completely different. Trina would actually, probably be a little bit more classier. But the man is telling, these producers are telling Trina what the people want, but more so what women want. My question is this really what women want to hear? Or is this what women think that we should be listening to? Is this what women, maybe it hypes us up in a way and gets us excited, but it's not realistic to real life scenarios? So yeah, I mean, so going back to, this whole idea of pandering. This happens all the time. This happens everywhere. And oftentimes when it comes to pandering, the interesting thing about it is you might see like black men, and you may have heard of black men pandering to black women. So one of the examples would be when the movie The Best Man came out years ago, not the second or third Best Man, but the first one with Terrence Howard and Taye Diggs. There was a photo floating around of them in real life, these men, and they were not with black women. I mean, they were like either married or dating or engaged to white women. And it was, kind of a funny caption on the video, saying something to the effect of like, black women, wake up. Like, this is not real life. Like, these movies you're watching, The Best Man, that shows not only black love, and black people, but like class. So of course, black college educated people together, loving on each other, all of that stuff. And then in real life, you see Terrence Howard, you see, Taye Diggs and so forth with white women. So one could say that is essentially pandering. And so pandering happens a lot in the media. It's happening all the time, and I would even say on social media, it's happening all the time. People sort of creating these ideals and making, airbrushing their photos or whatever it is, making you believe some sort of fantasy, when in reality, that is just not the case. So going back to Ciara, going back to Russell Wilson, I have two theories. And these theories might be unpopular, but right now, if you look online and you look up Ciara, you'll hear one narrative, which is, again, she's walking all over Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson doesn't have a backbone. He's just, being a simp. And, people are talking about Ciara's exit strategy. Next thing you know, she's going to be like Tia Mowry and like graduate from her marriage and this and that. And here's my theory. So number one, I believe that men are very competitive, right? Like, men compete via their woman. So if your woman looks a certain way, depending on how she looks, that is a flex for a man to be like, hey, this is my girl. So one little theory is just, Russell, I'm sure, may not mind the world looking at his naked wife or his almost naked wife in public. Because at the end of the day, as long as Ciara is with him and sleeping with him, he may be like, go ahead, feel free to look at what you will never ever have. That's one theory. Another theory is Russell signed, stamped, and approved Ciara's outfits, in particular the one she wore recently at the Oscars, where she was pretty much almost naked, with the exception of a thong and that's in a fishnet, whatever that was on top of her. I think Russell Wilson signs, stamps, and approves what she wears. I think he is completely okay with it. And let me tell you why. So with, artists, with the media, with Hollywood, with celebrities, everything is about strategy. Right? Like, I think a lot of times we see these artists and we assume that we make up all these stories about their lives and this and that. And we try to create these stories and these scenarios about who they are and why they did what they did. And, but the reality is, like, we don't know why they make the decisions they make. And oftentimes the decisions they make are rooted in strategy, rooted in trying to get folks like us and myself to talk about them, to make videos about them. In the minds of a celebrity, if you are on the tongue of a person or many people, that is a good thing. For many of them, all publicity is good publicity. They want to get us talking. They want folks like myself making videos about them. And there is no better way to do that than to show up half naked or, 95% naked with your husband and have people asking all types of questions and wondering and commenting and, that is a great way to get attention. And clearly it's working. So I don't think that, I don't believe the narrative that everyone's saying that, Ciara is just a bad example. I mean, whether or not you think she's a bad example of a wife or a mom, that might be your opinion. I think that Ciara and Russell go in together and make the decisions together regarding what she wears. And I think it is a strategic move to get the people talking. Now, let me tell you why I think this is pandering. Because what it does is it creates an image. Now, a lot of people, you might have heard of, artists having a gimmick or having an alter ego. Beyonce with Sasha Fierce. And, so there's all these things that we know that artists will sort of play around with, sort of this creative identity, having an alter ego and that type of thing. But, for especially young minds who don't know or haven't really analyzed the fact that, some of what these artists, these celebrities might be doing is not real, they might think that that is real. Like they see a picture of Russell, who is considered to be a high value man, so to speak, and see a picture of Ciara with no clothes on. And you assume that like, oh, wow, look at her. I mean, and she has this man and she's a wife and she has a family and she's, like this poster child for the Black modern family. And it creates this illusion that that is real. Like you can actually show up to a classy function like the Oscars with your man wearing a suit and be pretty much naked and like that's not gonna, like in real life, that's not gonna cause an issue. Like you're not gonna argue all the way, to the Oscars while you're in the limousine and then all the way back home. And I mean, like that's not gonna cause a problem. I'm gonna have something to say about that. And he's gonna ask you some questions. Well, why do you need to wear that? Who are you wearing that for? So again, we know in real life, like what the outcome of that could potentially be. And it's probably not good. Not only the argument between the couple, but then also the perception that, because essentially if you're married, you are your husband's representative. So then what does your clothes or lack thereof say about him? Say about the attention that you might be trying to seek? I mean, there's a lot that we communicate through our clothes and through the way we look, right? Like that communicates so much. So I want to believe that Russell and Ciara are smart enough to think through all of this. Now, mind you, they also have a team of people, of professionals that they work with. They have managers, they have strategic brand managers, and they have all types. Ciara has producers, and there's all types of professionals working with them, coaching them on what your next move should be. Now, those moves are not always, just because someone's coaching doesn't mean that the move is going to be the best move. But again, keep in mind that this is strategy and it's also pandering to someone who doesn't know that it's pandering. It is pandering to like I'm just going to say young minds or just the general public, because it's not real. It is not realistic that you can be a revered mom and wife with a, so to speak, high value man and walk around naked. Those two things, I'm sorry, they don't go together, right? Being naked and being a highly revered and respected mom and wife to a alleged, high value man, those things don't go together. That's real life. But online, on media, on social media, and I guess apparently at the Oscars, yeah, you can create a fictitious reality like that because you are trying to appeal to the desires of the public. So there's shock value, there is the alter ego, gimmick, a persona, an illusion, a fantasy, and a delusion. Oftentimes, you are being sold a dream. You are being sold something that is not real. And that is how entertainment works. That is the purpose of entertainment. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I watch YouTube primarily. I'll be honest. I don't really watch a lot of TV or no TV at all. I watch movies every now and then, but I like YouTube. Not to say you folks can't pander on YouTube, but I do like to hear real experiences from real everyday people. That is what I like. And I think a final example that I'll give is Cardi B, who I actually like. I like her personality, and I like some of her music as well. But, you know, we all remember when WAP came out several years ago, a few years ago now. And of course, she has that lyric in there about not wanting to cook or clean, but still getting a ring. And then so many days or whatever later, you see Offset filming Cardi B literally cleaning, right? So that is another example of pandering. You know, it's this idea that, yeah, I mean, you're appealing to yeah, it sounds good to think about me not cooking or cleaning and still getting a ring, but we all know that, you know, that is not reality. And I thought it was funny, but I thought it was also very true. You know, and even just thinking of even the song WAP, like there's so many lyrics in that song that, you know, from a analytical, like obviously if you're just having fun, it's a fun song. But if you are trying to analyze it, you know, there's a lot of things said that just don't hold true in a real, either a real relationship or just in a real dating situation, you know. And even just like we saw how Cardi B was so protective over her daughter. I think she was on Instagram Live and she was listening to WAP, and then her daughter came in the room and she hurried up and turned it off, right? Like she clearly does not want her daughter to listen to WAP, as she should. I mean, her daughter should not be listening to that. But think about, you know, now this is a song that was on mainstream radio. And even though they tried to, you know, mainstream radio tries to like block out certain lyrics, it's still kind of obvious what's being said on some level. And it's still a ton of inappropriate things in the song for a kid. But like, there are kids who know all the lyrics. There are kids who listen to it. I mean, I don't know, either by accident or maybe their parents don't know that they're listening to it. The point is that what these kids are consuming is something that is a fantasy, right? It's not, I mean, your WAP is not going to, at the end of the day, determine whether or not you're gonna get married, whether or not you're gonna have children, you know, like Cardi B, you know, like the illusion is, oh, well, Cardi B's singing about this and she got Offset and she has 2 kids. She has a family, she's married. But the reality is that I'm pretty sure that Cardi B's WAP did not get her that, right? So as much as she can sing about that and rap about that, let's not create the illusion and pander and think that having that same attitude is going to get you a husband and a family. So anyway, this is just my take, maybe an unpopular opinion. Comment below, let me know what you think, like this video, and as always, stay tuned for more videos.